In today's video, I'm going to be talking about doing lining paper and mainly doing a bit tricky cutting around a fireplace. And we're going to be talking through the process of doing the lining. Now, the same principle will apply if you're using a finished wallpaper about the cuts on the internals and externals. So just because I'm actually hanging lining paper today doesn't mean we couldn't do exactly the same sort of principle when we come to hanging a finished paper. But just remember, finished wallpapers, make sure that you plumb them up either with a plumb bob or a laser liner if you've got one. There's videos in that playlist there about wallpapering. But I will say the tools that I'm using today, please check out the description below because I have an Amazon Associates link to a storefront where there's numerous different products that you might be interested in that helps you along the way with your painting and decorating jobs, whether that be painting or decorating. Yeah, thanks. Now let's crack on with the main video. Morning everybody. I think you must know me by now. Right, not a massive video today. I'm just going to talk you through something. A lot of questions get asked on what do you do when you come to a room and what's your process of working. Now, I'm in a bit of a studio. I'd like to say it was my studio, but it's not. We work in with a soft furnishing company in Nottingham. They do curtains, they do blinds, they do rear upholstery, they sell wallpapers and everything on that line of black interior design. Now, we do a lot of their work when they recommend us for being a decorator if anybody asks. So every so often their studio showroom, which is this room here, it's off camera, it goes all that way down there and they've got furniture and demo stuff. They've every so often they have these walls, that one there on either side of the chimney breast, they have it repapered. Now I did this with my father. That wall there, I stripped wallpaper off yesterday and there was writing on the wall and it said March 2012. Now I know that I've been back since then to put a wallpaper over the paper that was on it. Yeah, do as I say, don't do as I do. But I'm now back in again and I've stripped off the wallpaper. It was one of those papers that have got little pearlescent balls on, you know, the plasticky ones. Very difficult to cut with shears, very difficult to cut with a blade. But we've stripped it all off and I've prepared the surface. And you would say, what do you prepare surfaces with? Well, what I've done, I got it all stripped off. Didn't need a lot of filling, there was next to nothing. I put a coat of this on. You've seen this before in previous videos. This is a 3:1 mix ratio. Yeah, watch that video because if you don't use it as a 3:1 mix ratio, it's a 1:1. So i.e. 1 part of this and 1 part water if you're going over surfaces that are problematic, i.e. glossy surfaces and things like that need a better adhesion. But on a porous surface for sealing prior to wallpapering or even painting, it's a 3:1 mix. So 3 parts water to 1 part of this primer sealant. Very good. So that's what I've done. I've gone over the wall and I've gone over, we'll come on to that wall in a minute. I've gone over that wall and then what I've done, I've relined it. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you don't need to reline and everything. Oh, we like relining. So we've relined it and you've seen probably a month or so ago, I don't know. I'm loving this Albany lining, reinforced lining paper. This comes in just under 5, I think it's 545 size, 554, just over half a metre. It's a thinner grade fibre liner, paste the wallpaper to what wall rock is. So wall rocks, is it about 180 grams or something like this? This is about 140. I did say on a previous video, I thought it was very much like wall rock, but just a bit thinner. But do you know what? As a lining paper, being reinforced, and you can see it reinforced, this is from Brewers, reinforced, is paste the wall. It's so easy to line a wall out, pasting the wall and getting this on. And with it being that little bit thinner, it's easy to handle, easy to work. And yeah, job's a good one. I'm really impressed with that. I think I've said it's about £4 or £5 a roll. Works out about £4.50 plus VAT. So if you're VAT registered, you claim that back, don't you? But yeah, £4.50 plus VAT for a single roll. It's not bad value compared to wall rocks, about £8, is it? So yeah. We've lined that and I'm ready to actually put a paper on there. with this being a bit of a display room, we don't have to go too much to town on it, but I still want to make it look nice. Now, we're not doing the full room, it's just a case of stripping wallpaper and repapering. Now, what I will be doing is that edge there's a bit of flaky paint come off over the years, so I have got some emulsion just to try and lose that top edge in, just to feather it out. And the skirting, I am just going to give it a light rub down, and I'm going to use, and you've seen on previous videos, I do like the H&G stuff. Let's put this down. Hanford and Green. Now, Hanford and Green acrylic gloss can go over previously painted surfaces without an undercoat. Just give it a good rub down, give it a good dust off, and I'm going to give it 2 coats of this white just on this skirting board round here and on this wall to the side of me, side of the chimney breast, mainly just to freshen it up, ready for the paper that's going on. The papering video will be another one after this one. This is just a bit of talking through of what we actually do on a job. So that's straightforward, we know what we're doing there. Now let's just come to this wall here, either side of the chimney breast. Right, that was a heavyweight vinyl, so that was a continental European US size, 27-inch wide. Now I can remember doing this 5 or 6 years ago. Again, do as I say, don't do as I do, because I knew we've actually done that wall either side of the chimney breast before. We stripped it previously and we lined it just with ordinary 800 grade lining paper and put the wallpaper on over the top. I knew that is a sound base. So what I've done on this, again, always weigh up what the surfaces are going to be like when you do it. Right, I stripped the face off. Now the face came off because it was a vinyl in big sheets and it came off lovely, and it hasn't damaged the backing of that paper, and it's not gone through and pulled off to the original lining paper that I've done. So I'm taking a gamble, and I don't say I'm chancing it because I'm gambling on it. I'll be on a winner. If I was in Vegas gambling on this, I'd be on a winner. I've stripped off that. It's sound. There's a few holes that I've filled using, I don't know if you've seen this, it's the lightweight filler. It's like polystyrene in there, you know, the white stuff. The Prestonet, and it's the lightweight filler. I've just skimmed over any holes with the Prestonet. Let that dry, and what I've done, I've gone over that backing of the wallpaper with that beeline sealer. Now that was yesterday, it's dried solid. I've given it a I'll give it a light sand over with a worn piece of sandpaper, because I do keep a worn piece on this roller pole, just to give it a nib over. I'll say give it a nib over just in case there was anything that I'd picked up and it was sticking to the surface. So this wall now is really good. Now yesterday I did see a few little bubbles that had bubbled up. Now that could be the moisture of that primer sealer soaking into that paper, and it's probably searched out any of the emulsion that's on the original plaster and it's just popped it away. Now when that dries out, you probably find that if you have got bubbles in a surface like that that weren't seen before, they actually pull back, and they have done. There's no loose wallpaper on there now. So what I'm going to be doing is, I'm going to, now that's all dry because it was yesterday, I'm going to be lining this again with, this time round, the reinforced lining paper, the Albany one. Now, question, do I hang horizontal or do I hang vertical? You know what I'm like, I've hung vertical on that one. And do you know why I hung vertical on that one? Because it made it a lot easier for me, and also I know where the finished paper is going to be starting and finishing. So I know where it's going to be starting, that it won't be corresponding with the width of these papers. Joints won't be matching up. But on this, I don't know, we've got some bit of a step in the brickwork there, and it's not a brilliant edge going around the sides. I'm going to wait up, and this is the point of this video. Always look at the job and see what is going to be the best way of approaching and tackling the job that you'll be doing. Now, I could say, I'll come to the side here and I'll hang off that wall edge. You don't need to plumb or get a laser when you're doing lining. I could hang off that wall edge there, come across, but I don't want to have fiddly pieces to be cutting around that. I could come from this side. That would take in all of that nastiness on that brickwork. You see, if I came off there, can you see that? That would take in all of that, and then we would work 1, 2, 3 like that. Do you know what I'm going to do for you? I'm going to hang this horizontal. So let me get my kit out and I'll start showing you how to do a horizontal lining over a backing paper. Risky stuff, risky stuff. Right, you've just seen a fast forwarded version of me cutting in with the paste and then rolling it with a long power roller. Make sure you get plenty on. Where I've got the filler, made sure I've got plenty going over that as well. What I've already done, you probably didn't see that because you probably can't see. I've already marked down where that width will be, i.e. that first length that I'm going to go horizontal. I've already marked it, so I made sure I'd gone beyond that when I started pasting. So that's probably tacking off now. I don't want to be too long because this is paste the wall, you can bang it straight on. This Albany paste the wall stuff, you can actually paste the paper if you want to, but I can't see any reason why you'd want to do that. Not at all, no. It's a lot easier and cleaner if you paste the wall and bang it straight on. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to get it on with it now. You'll see it'll be fast forwarded slightly, but tools of choice. I've got a spatula squeegee. I've got hanging brush. I've also got a pair of shears, not scissors. Hairdressers use scissors. Decorators use shears. Look at the size of that. Does that look like a pair of scissors? Scissors are what you have in a kitchen. I've also got a snap off Olfler blade. So let's get on with this. Right. See how we go. I must say I've got my little extendable ladder there because I've not got 2 pairs of steps, typical, but I hate working off them. They're that flexy, it's not safe. They're alright for short periods of time. When you're hanging lining paper, always make sure that you're using the same side, either as the face or the side that's going against the wall for where the paste is. I'm working off the inside. Literally hanging it to the ceiling, not making it complicated. There we go. Just marked into that wall using the squeegee so I can actually see an indentation on where the line is for cutting. I didn't need a pencil on that. You could either use a blade or, like I'm doing, just use the shears. Then get it back in. Right, you saw me do that in a speeded up version. You could see I actually trimmed off the excess and let a good salvage edge go around that top there, and then I marked it in with that because the indentation gave enough definition for a line for cutting with your shears. So I've done that and I've got it down, and you just saw me just wipe around with a damp warm sponge just over that ceiling edge, just in case there was any paste on there, which there wouldn't be because you've done paste the wall, and the chances of any paste gain on that surface are very slim. But when you do squeegee up against the edges, you could just be pushing a little bit of paste out onto that edge round there. So that's always good practice, just to wipe it down with a sponge. So what I'm going to do now is just carry on all the way down. It's the same principle. I'm going to be pasting the wall, hanging it, going all the way down, and then I'll come to you at the end. Right, I hope I can explain this, how you do these cuts. Obviously we've got a stepped brickwork area there. Now if you're a professional, you're going to know how to do this. If you're a semi-professional that's not into papering, you probably have an idea. If you're a DIYer or a proper amateur that's never done it before, let me tell you how you're going to do it. Now, I'm going to say obviously, I've got this length on all the way to there and I've trimmed it, so we're good there, and we've come back to do the nasty bits. I'll say nasty bits, they're not complicated. Butt joints, make sure you get a butt joint all the way across. Now this, it's not going to stretch, it's not going to creep on you, it's non-woven. What you might find is, and correct me if I'm wrong and give us some comments, if you're a professional paper hanger, have you noticed that non-woven, whether it be a finished paper or a lining paper, can shrink slightly, only a fraction. Only a fraction. Don't think it goes millimetres, but it can pull back slightly. Just be watchful. So butt joint all the way across. I've not actually squeegeed this bit back because I'm going to be pulling it back. My paste is still sticky and tacky. There's plenty on there, but I'm going to go in for the kill. We shouldn't say that, should we? I'm looking at this. Let's just move this sheet slightly out of the way. Right. My first place I need to do a cut is on that corner there, right? So what I'm going to do, I don't want to cut into where I need paper, which is down there. I know that there's waste paper there, so I'm going to get a blade, right? Well, let's do it with a pencil so you can see, right? So a pencil on that corner of that marble top there, you see just there, it's there. I'm just going to mark it with a pencil. Now I'm going to come in from this side, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to flatten that down so I know that that's where the flat cut will be, and I'll press it in with my fingers so I don't cut into that area that I need. That is just there. I don't know whether you can see it. That is just there. Let's mark that with a pencil. That is just there in effect. So I can actually cut below there to that mark. So I'm going to do that with shears. If you're into using your blade, you can do. So I'm going to cut all the way to where that little mark is, not beyond it. Now that means I can actually get this piece in place, look. See how nicely it folds into there. I don't know if I can get you a bit higher. Let's get you a bit higher. That might be better. And it folds into place. So let's get this out of the way. I'm going to put another pencil cut pencil mark just there, and let's get rid of this corner. Right, so I'm going to cut up to where that pencil mark is. Now a top tip Tuesday, that is waste. That piece there is waste. Hope you can see it. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut it off on an angle. I've not gone to where the actual mark is because that's where you will be cutting, but that's just to get rid of that bit of waste paper, so I've got a little bit easier area to work with. And that's gone in lovely. So let's just get that down there and that down there. Now, because this is a fiddly one, and for the purposes of the video I'm going to mark it with a pencil, just show you what I'm doing. Normally what I've been doing is pressing it into that wall edge and then cutting it freehand, but what I'll do, I'll get these on here mark it with the pencil to show you what I'm doing. Right, that now would be ready to go. We've got still a bit of work to do yet, but I'm just showing you as we go along. Right, I'm now going to cut to that shape that the pencil's given me, because it is an uneven brickwork. It's not a straight line. You could run a blade down it if you wanted. You'll blunt your blade, but I'm coming across there and I'm coming to that mark. Look, coming to that mark that I made just there. Right, let's get that in place. This is in effect like doing internal and external cuts. Right, I'm happy. That is down. I'm quite happy with that butt joint there. We've come to this tricky bit because we've got it staggered slightly, haven't we? But it's the same principle. I'm going to work this paper down. I'm going to pull it back because we've got some air bubbles that are just there because we've allowed it to go up and down. You can force them out with your hand, and then we're going to come across. Don't worry, we'll go over all of it before we've actually, well, before we finish to move on to the next one. Right, I'm coming again. My next piece that I need to cut out is that brick there. So let's go down to that brick there. Let's mark it with a pencil. I'm going to come in from there. Can you see that? Cut it like a triangle, because I've not cut into where I need the paper going on the wall. Right, the next bit, we've got too much paper there, so let's trim that down. Let's get rid of that. Right, we're going in better now. That internal corner just there, I'm marking it with a pencil. I'm going to cut so I've cut that to relieve the pressure, and I've taken that paper off there as well, and now that will go nicely, lovely, into that corner there. You see that? And again, I'll mark that with a pencil and across the top of the brick. Let's cut that with shears. You'll probably get into it and you'll want to do it with the blade, but the purpose of this, I'm doing it with the shears. Now I'm following the line of the pencil, which is a bit of a greyhound's back leg. We're cutting that off, and then that little flat piece, I know I can cut that off now. And that's been trimmed to the internal, to the external, and that will start going down. That should trim a bit more off of that. Happy with that? Right. Let's get that down. So we're now into there. Now the brickwork's not brilliant. I might have to use a blade just to neaten that up. Now we're coming down to the last piece, which is a flat one. Let's get that across. Let's do that. I'm going to get the blade now because I can see where there's a bit of pressure on that brickwork. I'll just cut it into it to relieve that pressure, to get it down. Mark that with a pencil. And let's cut those bits off that we don't need. There we have it. We've actually, can you see that? We've got a step. We've cut the step out. Big step there, smaller steps there. Now we're going to go in. That's better. I'm going to go in with that squeegee. I'll do it left hand. I'm not left-handed. I'm going to do it with that all the way across, getting the air bubbles out, and we're pushing it down into the corner there, all the way across. And then I'll go off camera. I'm going to go all the way along this line there. I'll bring it. Just going to get a sponge. white that marble granite piece there, daub any paste that might be on that brickwork, white that edge there. Now, happy with that. Can you see it's nicely cut and stepped? So in effect, it's cutting an external, you've cut an internal, but you've got a lot of external, internal, external, and then the next ones are going to be exactly the same, just a little bit more fiddly, because I've got an internal, external all the way down on about 4 bricks. So let me get on with that, and then I'll see you at the end again. And we're diddling. Now we've done. So I've only probably been about, well, I've been talking to people 15-20 minutes since I finished that off. I came straight down, did that one there. Next drop was doing round the double plug socket, and if you want to know how to cut around double sockets or plugs, there's a video there. I didn't want to put it on this video because I've covered that topic times many. So I've just finished off. There's a little strip that needed going in at the bottom, which I actually used off. I used an off cut and just put a bit of a joint. I don't know, you can just see it there. Just joined it together there. Didn't need any more than that. It won't be seen when we get the finished paper on, but literally it was a strip like that. So all pleased with that. As I said earlier, make sure you got butt joints. Nothing untowards on this one. We've just had the cuts there to do that were fiddly, and then obviously if you've not gone round plug sockets before, but all in all, that there and all the way down, job's a good one. The only difference between this job being a showroom and a private job, which proper house being done, I'd normally go around the top edge of the ceiling, down the side of the walls, just with a bead of cork. That allows me to then sink a blade, cutting snap-off blade, into that cork when I come with a finished paper, if I need to be cutting with a straight edge and cutting down the angles, because the blade going into the cork is a nicer, softer feel than trying to cut into particularly plaster that can be a bit brittle that breaks away, but it makes a neater edge around the edges for neatening them up when you've done your papering anyway. The only other thing that I will be doing, because this, with it being it's a showroom, and in the next few years I'll be stripping it back off again. That's why I'm not doing the corking up around the edges. I will be just putting a bit of the H&G quick drying, and it goes off within an hour, the acrylic gloss, high gloss, just to neat the skirting boards up. But as I say, I won't be doing any corking up on those edges, because this paper will be coming off again, and I don't want to damage the top edge of the skirting or the angles by pulling cork off in years to come, which won't be that far. So I'm going to wind up now. In the words of Katy Perry, I've got to do it all again because I've got that side to do, which take me about an hour. So thanks for listening to me. There's videos at the end, and see you on the next one.